All right, let's jump into a story that's, well, it's pretty epic. It's got a monk on a quest for ultimate focus, his super enlightened teacher, and a conversation that literally takes place in the heavens. We're going to unpack this ancient path to a steady mind. Let's get into it.
You know, if you've ever tried to meditate, heck, if you ever just tried to focus on a single task for more than 5 minutes, you know the struggle, right? Your mind just does its own thing. It wanders off, starts daydreaming, gets stuck on a worry. And you might think, oh, the real experts, the advanced meditators, they must have this all figured out. But here's the thing, they get distracted too. So what's their secret? Well, believe it or not, this ancient story we're about to explore has a really practical answer.
Okay, so let's meet our main character. His name is Moggallāna, and he's one of the Buddha's top disciples. I mean, this guy was renowned for his incredible spiritual powers. But here's the kicker. Even for someone like him, getting true mastery over his mind, it was not a walk in the park. He was on a serious inner quest.
So Moggallāna wasn't just doing your basic watch your breath meditation. Nope, he was going deep. He was practicing something called the jhanas. These are these incredibly profound states of meditative absorption. The best way to think about it is like you're diving. You're moving from the choppy, noisy surface of your mind way, way down into the silent, still, deep parts.
And you can totally picture these jhanas as a ladder. Each rung you climb takes you to an even more refined, more peaceful state of mind. Sounds great, right? But here's the problem Moggallāna ran into, and it's a big one. As he started to climb, he found a really persistent challenge waiting for him: distraction. All right, so Moggallāna gets on the first rung of the ladder. This is the first jhana. He's secluded himself from the world, and his mind is just filled with this amazing joy and ease. It's a really beautiful, blissful state. But, and this is key, his mind is still thinking. Thoughts and reflections are still happening in the background. And this is where it gets so relatable. Even in this incredibly peaceful, blissful place, his mind throws him a curveball, thoughts, perceptions, all tied to the sensory world, sights, sounds, desires. They just keep bubbling up to the surface. Does that sound familiar? Yeah. Even he was getting distracted. So what does he do? He goes deeper. He climbs to the next rung on the ladder, the second jhana. And here, something really important changes. That joy and ease are still there, for sure. But now they're coming from pure concentration. That whole layer of thinking, it's gone, it's fallen away. And the mind becomes just incredibly still.
But the pattern just kept repeating itself. Every time he went deeper, every time he mastered one of these stages and quieted down one level of mental chatter, a new, even more subtle distraction would pop up. And that's such a universal experience, isn't it? The deeper you go into anything, the more subtle and refined the challenges get.
So just when Moggallāna is really wrestling with this problem, something pretty extraordinary happens. This is the big turning point in the story. The teacher himself steps in.
The Buddha, who's miles and miles away, senses that his disciple is struggling, and in an instant, using his spiritual power, he just appears right in front of Moggallāna to give him some direct, one-on-one advice. I mean, that alone tells you how crucial this lesson is, right?
And he says to him, in the ancient language of Pali, Moggallāna, Moggallāna, ma brahmana pamado, chittam santapehi, chittam equining karohi, chittam samadha. It sounds amazing, right? It's actually a very precise 4-part instruction. It's a direct command for how to master the mind. So let's break down exactly what he's saying.
So here's the 4-fold focus, the big secret. First, mapamato, be vigilant. In other words, pay attention, don't be careless. Second, chittam santapahi, steady the mind. Like really establish it, plant it firmly. Third, chittam ekokadiam karohi, unify the mind. Bring all its scattered parts together into one single point. And finally, fourth, chittam samadha, concentrate the mind. You see the progression? It's vigilance, then steadiness, then unity, and then deep concentration. It's a formula.
And at Moggallāna, he gets it. He takes this advice and applies it directly to his practice. And with that crystal clear instruction, he breaks through. He finally nails it. He's able to steady his mind in each of those deep states without wavering, achieving this absolutely unshakable concentration.
Okay, so what happens when your mind gets that powerful, that concentrated? Well, the story doesn't just end there. It shows us that this isn't just some private internal victory.
No, the power of a truly focused mind can ripple out in some pretty extraordinary ways, and this is where Moggallāna's journey takes an incredible turn, from the depths of his own mind straight to the heavens.
So with his mind now perfectly mastered, Moggallāna does something that sounds impossible. In the blink of an eye, as easily as you or I would bend our arm, he vanishes from the human world and just reappears in a heavenly realm, the realm of Tavatim Sa. And the story presents this not as some kind of hocus-pocus magic, but as a demonstration of what a fully concentrated, unified mind is actually capable of.
And there, in this heavenly world, he's greeted by none other than Saka, the ruler of the gods, and his whole crew. But Moggallāna isn't there for a tour. The tables have turned. Now he's the teacher, and he's ready to share the wisdom that got him there.
So Moggallāna starts explaining to Saka and the other gods how anyone can achieve a heavenly existence. And not just that, but how they can even surpass other gods. He lays out this whole path that isn't just about meditation practice, but about faith. And this path leads to 10 very specific, very tangible heavenly rewards.
The foundation for all of this, he explains, is what you could call confidence or trust. It all starts with going for refuge, which really just means placing your trust in 3 things: the Buddha as the ultimate teacher, the Dhamma as the path to follow, and the Sangha as the community that supports you. That deep trust, combined with living a good, virtuous life, that's what sets you up for an amazing future.
And the results of having that kind of faith? They are super specific. Moggallāna lays out 10 ways that those who have this kind of trust actually surpass other heavenly beings. We're talking a longer divine lifespan, more divine beauty, and a greater sense of ease and happiness. But it doesn't stop there. More divine glory, more divine authority, and even the sensory experience gets an upgrade. More beautiful sights, sounds, smells, tastes, and touches. It's a really clear link between your inner state and the actual quality of your reality.
So when you step back and look at this whole amazing story, you see it's really about 2 paths that work together. First, you've got the path of practice. That's the inner work, the nitty-gritty effort Moggallāna put in to steady his mind using the Buddha's 4 steps. Then you've got the path of faith. That's the trust, the deep confidence that all that hard work is actually going somewhere, that it leads to real tangible rewards, just like he taught the gods. You kind of need both. They feed each other.
And that brings us right back to you, and a really good question to ask yourself as you go about your own life, trying to find your own focus and well-being. Which side of this coin do you need to cultivate more right now? Is it the practice, that diligent, moment-to-moment effort, or is it the faith, that deep-down trust that what you're doing really matters and that it will all pay off in the end?